From islands inhabited by people who have no contact with the outside world to super-secret military installations and everything in between, these 25 places are spread across the planet that many people consider so easy to travel to. But these 25 places clearly demonstrate that there are still secrets to be had, by governments and by individuals. Most of the places on this list are only accessible to those with the proper clearances, but some are not accessible to anyone at all, regardless of the status of the places on this list. If you are reading about these places, you absolutely do not have the proper access to visit them. The tantalizing status of the unknown and the secret makes these 25 places remarkable. You will probably have your own theories about what goes on at some of these locations, and you may not have ever heard of some of the other places. Place 25, Disney Club 33, United States of America. Mickey himself probably isn't even allowed in. Disney is a pretty neat place to go to, but there is a place at Disney that is so neat, only a select few will ever get to see it. Disney Club 33 is the most exclusive place at Disney and happens to be the only place in the park where they serve alcohol. Disney Club 33 was originally designed by Walt Disney himself as a place for him to go to relax and entertain business associates. However, Mr. Disney passed away before the club officially opened. However, the club did open and remains open for those exclusive enough to get in. Disney Club 33 is an invitation-only club, so you need to know someone who is already in the club in order to get an invitation to join. Once you are invited to join this exclusive club, you will need to shell out about $100,000 to get in, and once you are in the club, the annual dues will run you $30,000 a year to maintain your membership. If you are lucky enough to get into Disney Club 33, then you will join a select few Disney fans who have the right connections and the right bank accounts to be in the most exclusive part of Disney. Sure beats the Mickey Mouse Club. Place 24, Snake Island, Brazil. Even if you could visit, you'd be running away as quick as possible. Located about 90 miles off the Sao Paulo, Brazil coast, Snake Island has the highest concentration of venomous snakes in the world. The island is home to the golden lancehead viper, and about 2,000 to 4,000 of these highly venomous snakes live here. That means that there is an estimated 1 to 5 snakes every 10 square feet. Unfortunately, while this is one of the most venomous snakes in the world, it is also one of the most endangered, so there is no going on to the island to clear them out to make way for people. But all it would take is one bite from just one of these snakes to kill a human in about an hour, and that is why Snake Island is forbidden for people to visit. Now, obviously, people have visited the island, but they are mostly scientists and researchers who are trained in how to deal with the snakes. And why would you want to go to an island filled with snakes anyway? Even if you like snakes, there are just so many on this island that it will make your skin crawl because the ground is crawling with super venomous killer snakes. Snake Island may sound like a cool place for a villain to have their lair, but even the most evil villain would be pretty crazy to try and visit, much less stay, on this island. Place 23, Area 51, United States of America. Oh, wouldn't you like to know? Everyone has heard of the secret U.S. military base known as Area 51, but no one knows for sure what is there. And the U.S. military wants to keep it that way. There are definitely plenty of rumors, though, about just what goes on here, some of which include aliens and UFOs. But one thing is for sure, whatever goes on at Area 51, you will never be allowed to visit. This secret military installation northwest of Las Vegas, Nevada has no official fence or anything to keep people out. However, there are a number of signs surrounding the perimeter, and those signs authorize deadly force for anyone caught snooping around. It is rumored that there are sensors surrounding the base that can differentiate between animals and people, so that animals may cross freely into the space that people are strictly prohibited from visiting. Even the airspace over the installation is restricted, with the only aircraft allowed to fly over being those that left the base. The allure of Area 51 is the fact that no one knows for sure what goes on in the middle of the desert. The theories that surround the military installation make for some pretty wild tales, but the truth is often crazier than the theory. Place 22, North Sentinel Island, India. an untouched and ancient civilization. North Sentinel Island has been inhabited for about 60,000 years by a tribe of people that have had virtually no contact with the rest of the world in that period of time. Because of the fact that this tribe has had so little contact with other people, the Indian government has decreed that no one may visit the island for fear of a couple of things. First of all, these people have no immunity to diseases from off the island. In the 1800s, some researchers kidnapped people from North Sentinel Island to study them, and the people promptly died of disease. The second reason is because the Indian government wants to keep this tribe untouched. There is so little known about the people of North Sentinel Island because it is nearly impossible to study them. The fact that they have survived 60,000 years without being disturbed by the outside world is remarkable, and the government wants to keep them undisturbed by the outside world. There are very few people in the world that have no contact with the outside world, yet, the people of North Sentinel Island are one such group. Therefore, it is not permissible for anyone to visit the island for fear of destroying this ancient civilization. Place 21, Isle Grand Shrine, Japan. One family and one family only. There is a temple, or shrine, in Japan that only members of the imperial family can enter. Isle Grand Shrine was built for the sun goddess Amaterasu Mikami, and the inside of it is rebuilt every 20 years to reflect a rebirth. This shrine is so sacred and secret that only a member of the family can be the guardian of the temple, which means that the only members of the imperial family have ever seen the inside of the shrine. No one else is allowed to see inside of the shrine by decree of the ancient Japanese religion. Because no one but the imperial family has seen inside the shrine, very little is known about it. It is the holiest place in all of Japan and in the Shinto religion. The rebuilding of the inside every 20 years relates to rebirth in the Shinto religion. So, even if you were able to see the inside, within 20 years, you would not know what it looks like on the inside anymore because it will have all been rebuilt. Isle Grand Shrine is unlike any other sacred place in the world because of its extremely limited access. The only way you are going to get inside is if you marry into the imperial family. And what are the odds of that happening? Place 20, Heard Island, Australia. Animals which humans have never laid eyes on. Heard Island is in the middle of the ocean, between Australia and Antarctica. So even if you were allowed to visit the island, it would be difficult to get there. But just why does the Australian government make it illegal for people to go to the island? Heard Island is completely untouched by humans, and the government wants to keep it that way. Only by very remote methods does anyone know anything about the island. It is known that the animals that live on and around the island are unique to that area. There are 2 active volcanoes on the island, the tallest mountain in Australia, and a number of glaciers. In other words, Heard Island is a beautiful pristine wilderness that has not had any contact with humans. In order to keep the island in this pristine setting, the government of Australia has made it illegal to visit the island. As stated, there have been remote expeditions to learn about the island, but people are not permitted to visit the island for any reason. Imagine an island so untouched by humanity, meaning that the animals who call it home have never been seen by anyone. That would be Heard Island, the secret Australian island that about which the government says keep away. Place 19, Pavglia, Italy. I get the shivers just thinking about it. There are a number of rumors and theories surrounding the history of Pavglia, but it is hard to tell what is true and what is not. The only thing that is certain is that visitors are not permitted on the island, and for good reason. Because, if any of the other theories are true, no one would want to visit Pavglia. The island was used to house plague victims in the late 18th century. Those people died, and that has led to the belief that half of the surface of the island is made up of human remains. Later, Napoleon used the island as a weapons cache, because it is so small and difficult to find. However, his enemies did find the island, and there was a bloody battle at the site. In the early 20th century, a mental hospital was opened on site, which was closed about 40 years later. All of this history has led to the belief that the island is haunted, with human remains all over the island and massive Napoleonic battles taking place. The island of Pavglia certainly has seen more than its fair share of deaths. Plus, mental hospitals always lead to stories of ghosts and haunting. Place 18, Surtsey Island, Iceland. some of the newest land on Earth, formed in 1965 from volcanic eruptions. Surtsey Island is not accessible by anyone but the most highly trained scientists. There is nothing deadly about the island, so why does Iceland only allow a select few to visit? That is a delicate and highly controversial issue. There is fear that humans will destroy the delicate ecosystem of Surtsey Island. This is some of the newest lands in the world, and it is constantly changing with new eruptions of the volcano. Scientists aim to study the new volcanic island, and so other people are not allowed to visit. New species of plants and animals are developing on the island, and it would be impossible for them to grow and develop if people were constantly interacting with them. The highly trained scientists who are allowed to visit the island know how to view these new species without destroying them. What is so special about a deserted island off the coast of Iceland that keeps the government and the United Nations from allowing people to visit? Surely, it is not only because of the flora and fauna on the island. There may be more to Surtsey Island than is originally believed. Theories abound as to why this island is kept a secret and why no one is allowed to visit. Place 17, North Brother Island is home to Riverside Hospital, or what is left of the hospital. The state of New York purchased the island in 1885 in order to build the hospital. Riverside Hospital was built in order to house extremely contagious people with diseases like typhus, tuberculosis, yellow fever and smallpox. During World War II, the hospital was used to house military veterans. After that, Riverside Hospital was used to house heroin addicts. However, it is now closed, abandoned, and falling apart. Due to the storied history of the hospital, no one is allowed to visit North Brother Island. Despite the ban on visits, many people have tried to get onto the island to visit the former hospital. The history of the hospital, including its most famous guest, Typhoid Mary, makes for a huge draw for history buffs and ghost hunters from all over the world. Even if you were brave enough to spend a night at Riverside Hospital, the state of New York absolutely forbids anyone from visiting the island. There are a number of theories that exist about why no one is allowed on the island. Is the island haunted? Are there still people in parts of the hospital? We may never know why Riverside Hospital and North Brother Island are permanently closed to the public. Place 16. Vatican Library Secret Archives, Vatican City. What's hidden here could alter history. The Vatican Library Secret Archives is so secret that no one knows for sure exactly what is in them. The Secret Archive has over 50 miles of shelving housing over 35,000 volumes of cataloged documents, some dating about 1,200 years, and that is just what is known about the Secret Archive. Anything added to the Secret Archive is not removed for at least 75 years. That means that documents available in the rest of the Vatican Library is dated back at least 75 years. So, who knows what is in the Secret Archive from the last 75 years? Even though documents are routinely removed after 75 years, there are things in the Vatican Library Secret Archives that will never again see the light of day. Some speculation about things in the archive include letters from Mary Queen of Scots, excommunication bulls related to Martin Luther, and other priceless historical artifacts from the long history of the Catholic Church. And, of course, some of the documents in the Vatican Library Secret Archives have the power to make and destroy that very same history. Because of the potential for ruining the history of the Catholic Church, there is very little possibility that anyone will ever see exactly what is in the Secret Archive. Place 15. Lascaux Cave, France. At one point it was open to visitors. Oops, big mistake. Lascaux Cave is a prehistoric cave that was discovered in 1940. What makes this cave so remarkable is that it is full of prehistoric cave paintings. There are over 600 paintings, some 1,500 etchings, and a number of other figures and dots. The paintings show things such as a 10-foot horse, processing animals, and other images from a period of time dating 20,000 years back. After World War II, the cave was opened to visitors, who would come and enjoy the paintings, but unfortunately those eager visitors also did a lot of damage to them. The people coming into the cave destroyed the natural flora and fauna, which then led to fungus that began to destroy the paintings. Because of the extensive damage that was done to the paintings, the cave has been closed to the public. No one is allowed to visit the Lascaux Cave, except for those seeking to do archaeological research on the cave, and those people are very few. If Lascaux Cave were still open to the public, you would be able to go to the cave and view a piece of human history that dates back to some of the earliest people in Europe. However, because of the damage, it seems that history will need to wait. Place 14, Coca-Cola Vault, United States of America. The secret recipe you wish you thought of. What do you think the most carefully guarded secret in the world is? If you guessed the secret to the Coca-Cola recipe, then you are correct. The recipe for Coca-Cola is stored in a special vault in Atlanta, Georgia. Visitors to the Coca-Cola vault can take a tour of a museum outside of the vault and even see the door of the vault. But absolutely no one is allowed inside the vault. The secret to the recipe for Coca-Cola has been kept for over 125 years, and it will likely continue to be kept. With the intense security that surrounds the vault and the design of the vault itself, there is very little likelihood that anyone will get into the vault. Your money in the bank vault is probably less secure than the Coca-Cola vault. How does that make you feel about the security of your bank? Coca-Cola's recipe is the secret to their success as a company, so they obviously do not want anyone to know the recipe. That is why they have the vault and the secrecy. At least they do offer visitors the opportunity to see the vault and tour the museum, but absolutely no one will see the inside of the vault. Place 13, Menwith Hill Royal Air Force Station, United Kingdom. With greatly limited access, comes great conspiracy theories. In 1954, the British War Office purchased 550 acres and leased them to the United States, and Menwith Hill Royal Air Force Station was created. This is by far the most secretive piece of land in all of the United Kingdom, and no one knows for sure what goes on in this military installation. What is known about the base is that it was originally used for spying and intelligence gathering during the Cold War. Today, only echelon spies and the NSA can enter the base. Because of the secrecy, there have been a large number of protests leading to politicians calling for more transparency about what goes on at Menwith Hill Royal Air Force Station. Military installations have existed all over the world for hundreds of years. However, the difference between sites like Menwith Hill Royal Air Force Station and sites a century ago is the level of secrecy and access that today's military bases have. Because of the secrecy associated with today's military installations, there is very limited access to these locations. And with limited access comes conspiracy theories. Just what goes on at Menwith Hill Royal Air Force Station, we will probably never know. And the secrecy makes for an intriguing picture about the spy world and the secrecy of military bases in the UK and the US. Place 12, Svalbard Global Seed Vault, Norway. A doomsday plan, perhaps, carved 500 feet into the side of a mountain in Norway is the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. The vault is designed to hold 4.5 million types of seeds, with 500 seeds of each variety. The idea is to keep seed populations safe in the event of a localized disaster, but many people believe the seed vault is designed for a doomsday scenario in case the world needs to be reseeded. Whatever the case may be, no one is allowed to visit the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. Norway was chosen as the site of the Global Seed Vault because it is naturally a cold place, which means equipment do not need to be used to keep the seed stable. Also, the relatively low humidity is ideal for storing things like seeds. However, probably the biggest reason Norway was chosen is because the world trusts Norway, and the country is relatively safe. But that does not stop the need for security at the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. Because of the need to keep the seeds safe, security is very tight at this location. There are no tours available, and only the highest privileged people have any sort of access. This may also mean that there is more to Svalbard Global Seed Vault than actually meets the eye. Place 11. The White Gentleman Club, England. Membership costs more than you make in a year. The White Gentleman Club was founded in 1693 by an Italian immigrant as a hot chocolate shop. However, it very quickly transitioned into a gambling and private gentlemen's club. The club is very exclusive and expensive to join, with notable members including the British royal family's male members. The White Gentleman Club works hard to maintain its exclusivity as the most private and expensive club in the world. You can only imagine what has gone on behind the doors of the White Gentleman Club over the centuries. The power that has walked through those doors has shaped the history of Britain and the world at large. Gentlemen's clubs have been around for a very long time, serving as a gathering place for men all over the world, but they have almost always maintained an air of secrecy and are usually very exclusive. The White Gentleman Club is no different in those regards. However, the level of secrecy about what goes on in the White Gentleman Club is probably higher because of how exclusive the club is. The exclusivity of the White Gentleman Club comes mainly from the price tag to join, but also because of other factors that keep the riffraff out. Place 10. Mezhgorye, Russia. There's secretive, and then there's Russian secretive. In Russia, there is a place called Mezhgorye that is so secret that no one knows for sure what lies there or what the purpose of the military base could be. Built as a public works project to house nuclear missiles during the Cold War, Mezhgorye is now officially closed to the public. The site is built into the Ural Mountains, and it is believed that there are bunkers built right into the sides of Mount Yamant. Rumors abound that Mezhgorye is a town that can hold up to 60,000 people with enough food and water to last some time. Also, there is supposedly an air filtration system that will filter out nuclear waste in the event of nuclear war. It is pretty much accepted that Mezhgorye houses some of Russia's nuclear arsenal, and it is believed that a program is run out of the base that will allow those missiles to be fired even if no one is alive to fire them. There are many secret military bases around the world, but because Mezhgorye is in Russia, it is probably one of the most secretive. And because of that, the site is closed to outsiders. But that does not stop rumors from swirling about the real purpose of the site. Place 9. Tomb of Qin Shi Huang, China. A clay army guarding treasure. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang was discovered by people digging a well in 1974. As they were digging, they came across some life-size clay soldiers. These were but a few of thousands of unique individual clay soldiers who were carefully crafted to guard the tomb of the first Chinese emperor. There is a literal army of terracotta, clay, soldiers surrounding the main tomb of Qin Shi Huang. It is believed that each soldier is unique from the rest in their garb, facial expressions, and weapons. This enormous mausoleum is designed to pay tribute to the man that led a unified China in the 3rd century BC. While visitors are allowed to see the terracotta army of soldiers and some of the items found in the tomb, the main tomb is completely off-limits, due to respect for the burial rites. However, it is believed that there is a vast treasure buried with Qin Shi Huang, and that proves to be tantalizing. The terracotta army is guarding the emperor and his treasure and continues to do so even thousands of years after Qin Shi Huang was laid to rest in his tomb. But it is what lies buried with him that is the big secret that no one will ever know. Place 8. Fort Knox, United States of America. The heaviest security in the world, Fort Knox is probably the most protected place in the world. This is the bullion depository of the United States, where literal tons of precious metals are stored in the largest and most secure vault in the world. No one knows for sure the protections that encircle the vault. Some believe there are even landmines in place to keep intruders and would-be thieves out. It is known what the vault building itself is made of. There are 4,200 cubic yards of concrete in the vault, 16,000 cubic feet of granite, and 750 tons of reinforced steel. But what exactly is stored at Fort Knox? Well, for starters, it is not just precious metals. Although over 2% of the world's mined metals are stored here, there is a lot more that remains hidden from the rest of the world. This includes one of the copies of Magna Carta and previously included the Royal Crown of Hungary during the Cold War. Despite speculation about what is and is not in Fort Knox in the bullion repository or thoughts about what is protecting the treasure, this place is still the most guarded vault in the world. No one knows for sure exactly what is inside, and no one can get in to find out. Place 7. Woomera Test Range, Australia. A closed-off area bigger than the country of Portugal. Woomera Test Range is the largest land-based test firing range in the world. It is 122,000 square kilometers, 47,100 square miles, larger than the area of Portugal. What could go on at a military test firing range that is larger than an entire country? The Woomera Test Range is used by Australia and its allies for testing weapons and war games. That means that the site is used for dropping bombs, firing missiles, and generally blowing things up. All of this means that visitors are strictly prohibited from visiting the site or setting foot on the range, evidently for good reason. With constant bombardment, it is extremely dangerous for anyone to be on a Woomera test range, especially civilian visitors. For an area the size of a country to be restricted is pretty difficult. But the Australian military does a good job of keeping the area secure and people off the grounds. But the questions remain. What exactly goes on at the Woomera test range? Is such a large area really necessary for military test drills? Or is there something more sinister about this Australian bombing range? There are, after all, many places in the world that are restricted due to danger of military exercises, and most of those are not the size of this Australian location. Place 6. Metro 2, Russia. A secret train line. Sounds like something out of a mystery novel. Is Metro 2 a secret train line below the streets of Moscow? That is the rumor, although it is claimed that if the subway line does exist, no one will ever find or see it. It is said that Metro 2 was built by Stalin at the beginning of the Cold War to connect the most important government buildings in Moscow, the Kremlin, the Federal Security Service, and the airport. It consists of a single track that makes these connections possible. That means that a government agent could get from the Kremlin to the airport without going out on the streets of the city. In fact, the only thing that is known about Metro 2 is what is heard in rumors. From a novel published in 1992, the rumor began since the author claimed the setting of the story was real. In 2004, a former government official declared that the train line existed to connect the Kremlin to Stalin's dacha outside the city. Whatever the case may be, the speculation and occasional rumors are enough to continue to fuel the fire that a Metro 2 exists under the streets of Moscow. Even if it does exist, it is unlikely that anyone will ever see it unless they are authorized to use it. Place 5. Bohemian Grove, United States of America. A club for the finest and most powerful. The Bohemian Grove is an exclusive boys' club located on 2,700 acres of California redwoods. It is fairly right-wing, and prominent members include every Republican president since Coolidge, as well as titans of industry, several politicians, and occasionally, an artist or two. The club has been around for over 150 years and continues to hold a type of power over things such as commerce, industry, and politics in the United States that no other group has ever had. For 2 weeks a year, these men get together for an outing in the forest. What goes on during this meet is extremely secretive. To get into the Bohemian Grove, it is necessary to be invited, either by asking to join or a group of current members getting together and inviting you. That said, most people will never be invited to join, and even if they are, it costs some $25,000 to join plus substantial yearly dues. The Bohemian Grove is typical of secret clubs. However, the type of men who are a part of the club is significant. Whether you agree with the political leanings of the club or not, anyone should accept that these men control things in the United States and the world, and they will not let just anyone into their club at the Bohemian Grove. Place 4. Diego Garcia, British Indian Ocean Territory. Rumors include a secret prison or the landing place of MH370. Diego Garcia is an island in the Indian Ocean, and it is technically a part of the United Kingdom. However, in 1966, the United States secured the rights to use the island by canceling some $14 million in debt owed by Britain. Now, Diego Garcia is a U.S. military base that no one is allowed to visit, home to 654 buildings and about 4,000 military personnel. No one knows for sure exactly what goes on at the base on Diego Garcia. In 2009, the United States military reportedly evicted several thousands of the island's inhabitants, and there was an outcry about what had happened to those people. However, in evicting the inhabitants, the island was cleared to be used for whatever the military wants to use it for, with the utmost secrecy. Speculation about what happens at Diego Garcia includes a secret military prison or the landing place of MH370. It is known that Diego Garcia has been the launching place for military flights into Afghanistan and Iraq. The United States Air Force also operates a ground station for the Global Positioning System at Diego Garcia. Regardless of what does or does not go on at Diego Garcia, The public is not allowed to visit this outpost in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Place 3, Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center, United States of America. The ideal apocalypse hideout, Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center, located just outside Washington, D.C., is designed to be the safest place in the world in case of an emergency. This is where the highest-ranking U.S. government officials will go in the event of just such an event. It was used during the 9/11 attacks. Built during the Cold War, Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center is operated by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, for the purpose of protecting not only American politicians, but also some of the nation's treasures, such as the art in the National Gallery. But what makes it impossible for anyone to get to Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center, unless you belong in the elite circle of American politicians who are designated to go to the center in the event of an emergency, there is no getting into, or near, the facility. It is rumored that in the event of an apocalypse, Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center would be the place to go. It has the facilities to support a number of people indefinitely and is a very secure place. However, just because it would be a good place to go, does not mean that just any Jeff or Jane can have access. Place 2, UN, Buffer Zone, Cyprus, separating two countries at war. On the island of Cyprus, there is a line dividing Greece from Turkey. It is known as the UN, Buffer Zone, and it has been in place since 1974. The UN, Buffer Zone in Cyprus is effectively a demilitarized zone that is about 180 kilometers long and ranges in width from a few meters to a few kilometers. The zone is sparsely populated, but otherwise strictly off limits to anyone. Demilitarized zones exist all over the world to provide a buffer between two countries or groups that are at war. The most famous DMZ is between North and South Korea. However, the UN Buffer Zone on Cyprus is an effective buffer between Greece and Turkey. Any DMZ is a place that cannot be visited by anyone. The idea is to keep people out, so that they cannot fight. By keeping the military of Greece and Turkey out of the DMZ on Cyprus, the citizens of those countries cannot fight each other, in theory. That said, the UN Buffer Zone on Cyprus is strictly off limits to anyone. Even the people who lived there before the DMZ was created have been encouraged to leave the area. The UN Buffer Zone on Cyprus is designed to keep the peace between Greece and Turkey, and to that end, no one is allowed into the area. Place 1, Robbins Island, United States of America. Doing it for the turtles. Off the coast of New Suffolk, New York is Robbins Island. The island is 435 acres and is a private island that is not open to the public. The island has a storied history of transfers and mishaps that have led to further transfers of ownership. The owners of the island have gone bankrupt and failed in nearly every venture to make something of the island. Today, the island is privately owned and serves as a nature preserve and sanctuary. The owner has spent the money to rebuild the natural state of the island by bringing in mature oak trees and replacing non-native grasses. Currently, Robbins Island has the healthiest population of turtles in the state of New York, thanks to the efforts of the owner, Louis Bacon. He has even begun to build on the island, with a home and cottages for those that take care of the island. But Robbins Island remains a private place and is strictly off limits to the public. This may seem strange for a nature preserve, but the ecosystem of the island is considered unstable, and Mr. Bacon does not want the island to be destroyed by commercialization. There may be a chance that Robbins Island will be open to the public in the future, but for now, it remains closed. If you stay until now, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more.